I already called 911. The police will arrest you for trespassing. That's what Brenda threatened me with, right there in my own driveway, after I came home from a 12-hour shift and found my garage locked up tight with an industrial padlock I'd never seen before. Next to it was this ridiculous cease and desist notice, printed in bold letters and slapped on the door like I was some kind of criminal. I stood there, still in my work shoes, staring at a piece of paper accusing me, of all people, of a violation. All because of Brenda, the self-appointed queen of our so-called HOA, who decided she ran the whole neighborhood. You ever had a neighbor like that? If you have, you know exactly the look I got. Arms crossed, blocking my path, daring me to make a move. I just pulled out my phone and smiled. All right, let's see who gets arrested, I said, because if there's one thing you learn growing up in a house full of sisters, it's how to stand your ground with a stubborn woman. Let me back up a second. My name's Darius. I'm 34, work as a software engineer, and about 8 months ago, I bought this little single-story house in what I thought was a peaceful suburb. You know the type, front yards neat as a pin, mailboxes matching, people wave and keep to themselves. For about 2 weeks, I figured I'd hit the lottery. Then, I got the first email, subject line in all caps, urgent HOA compliance notice. Trash cans visible, grass a quarter-inch too tall. Apparently, my mailbox post wasn't the right shade of beige. I laughed and called my realtor. She told me, between snorts, that the HOA here was voluntary, not binding. Brenda, she said, just likes to boss people around. Most folks ignored her, and I did too, until the day she decided to lock me out of my own garage. So, there I am, tired, frustrated, staring at this lock, when Brenda shows up. She's got this pastel cardigan, khaki pants, and the kind of smile that makes you want to double-check your pockets. You were warned, she said, arms folded. The HOA board voted to restrict your garage access. I just stared at her. What board? There's no registered HOA here. I checked when I bought the place. But she doubled down. We operate under community consensus. It's all in the bylaws. Yeah, the bylaws I never signed. She got close enough I could see her perfume cloud. Maybe this isn't the right community for you. That's when I felt my jaw tighten. You don't have the authority to lock my property, I told her, keeping my voice steady. That's illegal. She held up her phone and said, I already called 911. You're being aggressive and refusing to comply with a lawful order. I took a breath and snapped pictures of everything. Lock, notice, Brenda herself. Then called the non-emergency line. Hi, I need an officer. Someone's locked my garage and won't leave my property. Brenda's smile twitched when I said that. She wanted me to lose my temper, give her a scene. But I just waited, documenting everything. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, but no one came out. Not a soul. That's how you know she'd done this before. 20 minutes later, police rolled up, lights flashing, uniforms crisp. 2 officers, Brennan and Hayes. Brennan was the veteran, gray at the temples, patient. He listened as I explained, looked at my photos, checked my deed and disclosure. Brenda tried to jump in, claiming I was hostile and a stalker. Brennan stopped her. Ma'am, do you have documentation that allows you to place a lock on private property? She whipped out some papers, supposedly the official charter. Brennan just handed them right back after a glance. Ma'am, this isn't notarized. There's no registration, no county seal. This looks like it was printed at home. Her voice went up a notch. Everyone agreed. I shook my head. Brennan kept his cool. Even if people verbally agreed, that does not give you the right to restrict private property. What you've done could be considered unlawful restraint, a misdemeanor. Brenda's hands shook. Hayes stepped up, explained she'd need to go through code enforcement if there was a real issue. Brennan told her point blank, remove the lock, or we'll do it for you, and you could face charges. She sputtered, I don't have the key. Hayes went to the cruiser, got bolt cutters, and popped the lock right there in front of everyone. Vindication doesn't even cover it. Brennan handed the broken lock to Brenda. This is yours. I'm issuing a formal warning. Do it again, and you'll be arrested for criminal trespass and unlawful restraint. Brenda tried to flip it, claim I was harassing her. Brennan didn't even flinch. He took photos of an illegal act on his property. That's evidence, not harassment. She left in a huff. I got a business card, an incident number, and my garage back. But the relief was short-lived. The next morning, I woke up to construction barriers blocking my driveway. 3 orange and white beasts with a yellow sign. Under maintenance. HOA order. Brenda had leveled up. This wasn't some lock you could cut. It was industrial, public, and she'd put her name right on it. I took a slow pan with my phone, sent it to my lawyer, left a message for code enforcement, and called the police again. This time, the neighbors came out. Mrs. Kowalski from next door, Callahan from across the street, and a young couple, Zara and Isaiah, who'd moved in recently. They told me Brenda had been doing this for years, harassing people for the wrong front door color, for leaving trash cans out, even calling immigration on one family. "We're the only black family on this block besides you," Zara said. She never sent letters to anyone else. Just us. Brenda came outside and tried to run everyone off. But this time, Callahan had his phone up, recording everything. "Public street, Brenda. First Amendment." She turned beet red and stormed back inside. But the tide was turning. For the first time, neighbors stood with me. We swapped numbers. "If she tries this again, we all go to the city together," Zara said. The city's code enforcement officer, Whitmore, came out the next day. He was all business, checked the barriers, asked for documents. I showed him everything: photos, incident numbers, fake HOA emails. He just shook his head. "These barriers are on a public easement. No one can obstruct it without a permit. They come down today, or the city bills her for removal." Whitmore called a crew, and within 30 minutes, the barriers were gone. Brenda ran out screaming, "That's my property." Whitmore handed her a citation. "You have 14 days to contest this or pay a $500 fine plus removal fees." Someone down the street started clapping. Quiet, but everyone joined in. And that's when everything changed. Word spread. Neighbors started sharing their stories. Brenda's threats, her fake fines, her mandatory HOA meetings, none of it legal. Callahan pulled county records. There was never any real HOA. Just Brenda's fantasy. Then, as if on cue, she tried to flip the script. I came home one day to find 2 police cruisers parked outside. Brenda had called in a false report, accused me of threatening her, of making aggressive gestures. Luckily, I had an alibi, security footage, and a phone full of documentation. The officers saw right through her story. If this happens again, they said, she could be charged with filing a false report. My lawyer filed for a restraining order. Every incident, every police call, every fake email, all of it laid out. And the neighbors rallied. We formed a group chat, 9 households. Every single person had a story of Brenda's intimidation. We gathered statements, shared evidence, and sent everything to my lawyer. But Brenda wasn't done. One Saturday morning, she marched up my driveway with a guy in a cheap suit, claimed he was her lawyer, here to serve me a cease and desist. I asked for his bar number. He wouldn't give it. I recorded the whole thing, called my attorney on speaker. The lawyer turned white and hustled back to his car. Brenda tried to spin it, but Callahan caught her on camera telling me I should move somewhere more suitable. You know what she meant. That video. It went straight to my lawyer. And, soon enough, the local news. The day the story aired, the whole city saw Brenda for who she was. Me, Callahan, Zara, and Isaiah. Even Mrs. Kowalski, everyone told their story. And the camera rolled as Brenda's voice said, "Why don't you just leave? Go somewhere more suitable for you." Comments poured in, support from strangers, folks who'd lived through the same nightmare. 3 days later, I got an email from the city attorney. They were building a case against Brenda: unlawful restraint, false police reports, unauthorized practice of law. At the restraining order hearing, the judge didn't mince words. You do not have the authority to lock someone's garage, block public access, or file false reports. The restraining order is granted. You will pay the petitioner's legal fees. Brenda looked stunned. Her lawyer started to argue, but the judge just shut him down. And just like that, it was over. Brenda disappeared for a while. Her house went up for sale. People relaxed, opened up. Mrs. Kowalski threw a little cookout, burgers, brownies, the works. Someone suggested starting a real, registered neighborhood association, voluntary, transparent, actual democracy. We wrote up a charter, registered with the county, voted on a board. No fines, no threats, just neighbors looking out for each other. Months later, Brenda's criminal case closed. She pled out, took probation, paid restitution. Our new association even made a guide for new residents, explained their rights, gave them contacts for code enforcement, and made it clear no one could intimidate you here, not anymore. People from other neighborhoods reached out, asking how he did it. The answer's simple: document everything, stay calm, know your rights, and don't stand alone. That's how you take your power back from people who think rules only exist for others. You know, sometimes I think about all the folks Brenda chased away over the years, people who just wanted peace. I couldn't change what happened to them, but I could make sure it didn't happen again. That's what real community looks like, standing up for each other when it matters. If you're watching this and thinking, yeah, that's my neighbor, don't give up. Document, organize, push back. Fear only works if you let it. We didn't, and neither should you. So, let me hear from you. What's the wildest thing you've ever seen a neighbor or fake HOA president try to pull? Do you think the system actually works? Or is it just luck when justice gets served? Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about it. And hey, if you want to keep up with how this neighborhood drama unfolds, you know what to do. Subscribe, join the conversation, and tell me where you're watching from. Because, trust me, you're not alone.